All right, everyone. Welcome back to another video critique of some weightlifters technique, in particular Andrew Merritt, who lifts for Rumbler. And this is going to be a good one. Overall, Andy has pretty good technique. And yeah, let's take a look at it. So, as usual, I have a vertical line going through the center of the bar at its start position. And I like to do this because basically I like to see where the bar starts, and then when it starts moving I get to see the foot position in relation to the start of the bar. And of course right now the plates are blocking that. I like to look at the center of the bar versus his shoulder position, so on and so forth. So Andy's in a good position to start. His shoulders are slightly in front of the bar, which is what you want. You want them either on top of the bar or right in front of it. Hip is slightly higher than the knee. Back is pretty tight. He could probably stand to lift his hips a smidge higher, but we'll see. So let's watch the lift in full, and then we'll break it down. And these are in slow motion, if you couldn't tell. All right, pretty good lift. So as you've probably heard, the pull in the snatch is referred to as an S pull. And basically what it looks like is a very tightly written S. So you can see here, the bar drifts away from Andy just a tad bit, but he does a really good job at bringing it in right away. And then it travels in all the way till it meets his hips. When it meets his hips, there is a slight horizontal displacement. That's pretty normal. That's what you get from hip contact. And then he does a really great job of making it go vertical after that. So basically, with this vertical line here that we have, that was at the center of the bar at the start, the bar path should go inside that line, and then slightly outside that line, and then over the top of it. So his bar path is pretty good. Let's take another look here. So I don't have a whole lot to critique on Andrew's lift. I would say he could probably start with the bar a little closer to him, and his, like I said before, his hips a little higher, because if you look, as soon as the bar comes up, even when it drifts out, but even as it gets back to that midline, right over the place where it started, look where it is in relation to his foot. It's way, way ahead of his feet. And that's forcing him to lift with his back a little too much. And of course, that's why he has this really exaggerated inward path towards his hip, because the bar is really far away to start. If he started with it closer, this would look a little bit more... this would look a little more vertical. But credit to him. I mean, he does a great job pulling the bar in towards his hips. I would say the hip contact is a little much. He has a little bit of swinging of the bar. Which causes him to jump back slightly and then really rely on his hip mobility quite a bit to save that. Because you can see, watch, the bar path ends right here, but watch as this goes back, 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 back. And then look at his, this is not a normal position. He's shifting his weight to compensate for the horizontal displacement at the top. To be fair, this was after a week off, so he's probably a little rusty. But overall, pretty good snatch. A little too much hip banging. Although, if we look at the center of his hip right here, draw a line straight down. It's in front of the heel, which is what you want. You really want it more over the very back of the ball of the foot. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that's pretty good. And this is looks like 98 kilos, which is probably right around, I think 90% for Andrew. Let's see. Yeah, 90% lift. So it's not light, but and again, as I've mentioned in other videos, bar path is not everything. It's nice to look at, but you can have good bar path and bad pulling mechanics, and you can have good pulling mechanics and a wonky bar path. So it's just one tool. I would say a lot like Matt, he needs to push the knees back a little bit more right away off the start. So again, if we get the bar to the knee, the shoulder should be well ahead of the bar, and he's kind of stacked on top of them. He gets away with it more than Matt does just because of his proportions. So he doesn't have as long of a femur as Matt does. So that's why you don't see as much of a swing out, and he can kind of get away with it. And that's the thing too. Shorter athletes will be better off pushing their knees out to the sides rather than back, where taller or longer legged athletes are going to have to push their knees back more and are going to have more of a bow at the knee position. If you look at a lot of the Asian countries, they are very upright when the bar gets to the knee. It's more of like almost like a squat position rather than a Romanian deadlift, and that's because they have pretty short tibia and fibia and pretty short femurs, which is great for squatting. So the longer your leg, the more of a Romanian deadlift or straight leg deadlift position you'll have, more of a bow, whereas shorter lifters can be more of like a squatted position. So you just have to know what you're looking at and base it on the athlete's proportions. But all in all, solid lift. Again, just I would say start with the hips a smidge higher and the bar a little bit closer. And Andrew is a remote athlete for us, so I don't get to see him lift in person too much, usually just once or twice a month. And that's on a heavy day, which is a day where I don't like to interject with a lot of coaching as far as breaking things down and changing things, because, you know, that day is a stimulus day. It's designed to stimulate you with heavy reps. So you don't want to really interrupt the workout for that. Yeah, anyway, good job, Andrew, and I think a lot of good things in his lifting future.